Hey folks, it's time for the quote of the day, and I had really hoped that the rain was going to stop because I feel like the person I'm quoting today, she really needs to have the sunshine on her, but it's Florida and it's summer and it's not going to stop. So instead, I'm just going to rely on her and just her presence here, hopefully, to bring the light and the sun and the beauty that she did in her life today for her birthday, and I'm excited for this one. I really am. Today, for her birthday, I'm going to be quoting the one and the only, the iconic, the beautiful, the special, the person who, when you say her name, your heart just fills, like it grows 3 sizes bigger. Lucille Ball. Today is her birthday. Just what a phenomenal person. What a beautiful woman that paved a way, not just for women in the things that she did, which we'll talk about that a little bit more, but it literally like changed the way that TV worked, like changed what a sitcom was. Uh, Lucille Ball was, and a lot of people don't know this, like was on the cutting edge with Desi Arnaz, was on the cutting edge of television, and people now, because we have the lens of history and things like that, they don't see it, right? They don't understand. They don't understand when you watch those old episodes and you watch those reruns and shit like that. It seems so, I mean, relatively antiquated, right? Like it's black and white and there's just all the, it's just all like, physical gimmicks and stuff like that. But this was a woman. I mean, let me say that again. This was a woman that was leading a sitcom that everybody tuned in to see her. You had this, handsome, suave, debonair, Desi Arnaz playing Ricky Ricardo, and some people liked him, and some people liked all the neighbors and stuff like that. But people tuned in every fucking day to see Lucy, to see Lucille Ball, and it's, I mean, think about the generational shift that she brought about, the way that changed the way that people thought, like the way that it changed the way that men thought about women. Like imagine that there was a point in time when women weren't allowed to do comedy on television, or if they did, it was in like, scantily clad parts or something like that, because men just didn't think that women could be funny. And Lucille Ball basically kicks that fucking door in with her husband in tow, no less, and says, no, we're going to show you. And makes one of the most iconic, I think like six seasons, I want to say, 180 fucking episodes. Like, easily one of the most iconic shows ever made, ever, like, period, bar none. Like, just, what a fucking inspiration. What a fucking inspiration at every fucking level. And, I wanted to talk just a little bit about, well, I mean, her and Desi. Like, I think that their love, even though they didn't last and it wasn't forever, because it was sort of documented on the show I Love Lucy, I think that their love is an important aspect of their lives, especially when you talk about Lucille Ball. Like, you kind of have to talk about Desi Arnaz. I think that it's important that you do that. And I think that one of the reasons it's important is because throughout all of history, whenever you talk about a husband and a wife, you always mention the husband first, right? Like, that's just how people do it. Men do it, women do it, it doesn't really matter. Now we're a little bit more socially conscious of it, but Lucille Ball kind of changed that. And I think that, for all of the Cuban machismo that Desi Arnaz brought, and all of the problems that he did have, financially speaking, with the kind of imbalance in their relationship, he definitely stepped up in regards to that. Like I remember watching, I think it was, I don't remember what it was. It was like maybe the Kennedy Honors or something like that, where they were honoring Lucille Ball, and I don't remember who was reading a message from Desi Arnaz. I want to say it was it? I don't know. I don't remember who it was, but like Robert Mitchum or something like that. Was reading a note from Desi, and he says, 90% of I Love Lucy was Lucille Ball. People tuned in to see her, and all of us were basically set dressing. Like, we were great set dressing, but that's what we were. We were just props for her to play with, and that's what was 180 episodes of that show. And when you think about that, when you think about their relationship, and you think about this man who comes, again, this is a Latino man, right? Like this kind of, extra kind of weird machismo that comes with that. And as somebody who's got that, a little bit of that in him, like, I can speak to this. I've seen it in my family. Like, there's something about that when you think about Desi Arnaz, people want to focus on some of the bad things about him, his alcoholism and his rampant cheating and things like that, those are obviously bad. But I think that what's lost on that is that, he really did kind of help bring Lucille Ball into the light, and then he stepped back and he said, look at how fucking beautiful she is. Look at how wonderful she is. Look at what an amazing person she was. And I think that when you have that kind of, change up, you know what I mean? Like it was just so different that I think you should celebrate not just her, but him as well. That old idiom of behind every successful man is a woman, whatever. This was the exact opposite of that. Behind a beautiful, wonderful, successful woman was a man, a flawed man, but a man that loved her with all of his heart. He even said in that letter, which was one of these tear-jerking moments on television, he even said, I Love Lucy wasn't just the title of the show. Everybody loved Lucille Ball because Lucille Ball loved everybody. And I think that can't be forgotten and that can't be missed. Now, I know, like I said, there are people out there that maybe are too young to recognize how wonderful she was and just how important she was. And I would encourage anybody out there that doesn't remember or doesn't know how just absolutely fucking jaw-droppingly funny she was, go get on YouTube and look up some of these old clips of the show. Go watch old episodes. Don't just watch the clips. Watch the episodes. Like, the jokes are funny, right? The physical gags are funny. Eating the chocolates off the conveyor belt and the bread coming out of the oven, all those gags are funny. But if you don't watch them in context with the show, you don't realize that the show was important, right? The show was actually a fucking show. Like, people don't seem to realize that the first time a woman was ever pregnant on television, like network television, was in the I Love Lucy show, right? Lucille Ball did that. She was really pregnant. The episode where she gave birth, which happened to coincide with her giving birth in real life, was one of the most watched episodes of television in history. It was more watched than the inauguration of Dwight D. Eisenhower at the time. That was a big deal. So I think that people sometimes forget just how impactful and how inspirational and how she really honestly changed everything, not just for women, but for television. And I just wanted to honor her on her birthday. And in keeping with that, I think that, there's a lot of things you could quote from her, but I picked a quote that I thought would be very inspirational to anybody that is on a journey of any sort, because she had to overcome a lot to accomplish what she did. She was a woman at a time in the 1950s when women weren't really thought of as much, right? They were set dressing in Hollywood. That's all they really were. And she broke that. She broke it in half, and she did that with this kind of thinking. Lucille Ball once said, "Remember to recognize the small successes that you will have. Don't let the brightness of that big goal blind you to what happens on the way towards the goal. Meet one wave at a time and enjoy what progress you make." This is really, really important, folks. This is how you do it. I'm speaking with a little bit of understanding of this just because of what I've done here. I look at the little things. I focus on the little goals as I'm trying to build something bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, it takes its time. I'm almost 3 years in now. In October, it'll be 3 years that I've been doing this. And I'm nowhere near like a lot of creators are. I don't have anywhere near the followers and I'm not making any money or anything like that, but it's slowly, I'm building into something bigger. I'm building into something better. I'm trying to make a difference in people's lives. And that's the same thing that Lucille Ball did. And I love this fucking quote. And I think the message is important. And so for her birthday, please wish Lucille Ball a happy birthday. Go watch some old episodes. Remember her fondly. Appreciate her. Love her. Happy birthday to Lucille Ball. And to the rest of you, take care of yourself and take care of others. I'll talk to you soon.